and our opponent allows us to hit him all the way to -80. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing a deck list submitted by a viewer in the comments. I wanted to try it out. They had a pretty awesome record of going, I think, 16-4 with this deck list, kind of playing a mono green shell with a couple of blue interaction pieces. But with that said, we're going to dive right into games, and hopefully those can kind of explain the deck list itself, as I do have quite a bit longer of an outro in this video than I have in the past. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the games. If you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing, helps out the channel a ton, and let's go game. Gonna go Baby Chocobo into Kenai. Only thing I'm kind of worried about is I really do think we need to be playing Landware Elves. Alright, well, we just lost, so that's pretty cool. Never mind, we didn't lose. Oh, we could lose. It depends. It really depends. And I don't want to play this until then, because the problem is if I play it now, they can bitter triumph it. So, I mean, I think I just have to. They bitter triumph it. It's whatever. But I need to be able to keep it. Collector's Vault. Alright, so we're fine. Sorta. Can't play Chocobo this turn for what I feel like is obvious reasons. I would love to, but to be fair, we get to play it next turn. Is attacking gonna matter? A Witchstalker Frenzy could be a card that they're playing, but I doubt it. But yeah, I'm not playing around Witchstalker Frenzy randomly in this deck. There's just no way. A weird situation where Kenai Curator is gonna be our win condition. Seems. Then of course, if they even try to answer it, we just eat everything in the graveyard that we can. Yeah, there's just no way around it, I guess. But sure, we win that game, and with that, we'll move on. With only 8 1-drops, we're really likely to have hands like this, right? So it's kind of weird to throw every one of these back. It doesn't feel right, you know? We're going to jam until they stop us, by the way. Cavern doesn't affect this enchantment, but we can play Cavern and name the Chocobo, and maybe we should have waited. Like, the idea could have been to wait. But we'll see. If our opponent stocks up here, we're going to hold the Cavern, but it seems like they're not going to. Here for Bird. And I'm just jamming. Force them to have some removal spells and stuff, you know? Kind of the idea. Counter it. Go for it. You got it. Oh, I really thought they were going to try. But Arena gives you a big warning. I actually watched somebody once in paper. Their opponent played Cavern of Souls, naming Titan for Amulet Titan, and then they cast a Primeval Titan, and I watched the opponent across the table just go counterspell, and they were like, card we just talked about? Yeah, the counterspell? Which is just tough. It's just how it is. So one of the things we're going to try to do here, we're going to sack this land. Unfortunately, shuffling that away. It does suck a little just because it is a creature we can play. Well, we're going to try to play Kenai, I think, here. And I think the idea is to exile some cards. Go that route. This is counterable, but we're going to counter the Sunfall that our opponent tries to play on their turn, I think. Let's move to combat. There could be an Elspeth Smite here, too. Is that worth attacking into? Maybe. I feel like their turn is just to flash this back right now. And then I think they're going to try to tap out on a board wipe that we'll get to counter unless they pay for. So Dazzling Denial feels like the card we need to find another copy of. But hopefully if they don't go for anything, I can maybe just exile a couple cards and then have a good time. Although I might be able to do that anyway based on what's happening. So they go for stock up here. I think that's okay. We get sorcery, instant, enchantment. And then I have a land. So our Kenai is turned on. And we'll be able to turn it on next turn and then hit them for 7. We'll be able to hit them for 10. Seems good to me. And then also hold the counterspell. Find 2 cards. They already played land, I believe, right? Yeah, because we haven't missed a land drop. Go stock up. Yep. Land off the top. A Mockingbird is interesting. I don't think I care to play it right now. I think I just want to hold up my counter magic. This is instantly resolving, so here's 7. There could also be a split up. Doesn't change my clock if I attack with this alone. Maybe we just do that. Because the problem is if I attempt to counter, right? Like if I attempt to counter a board wipe, for example, and the board wipe split up and they might have enough for no more lives. I'm in a little bit of trouble there. Lay down arms, we gain the life, so I guess I just have to let that go. Then of course we counter that. My turn, I suppose. Combat for 7. I don't think I have a bird in my deck that gives haste. Go find a bird. Basic land or bird. Each bird. Birds. Well, I mean, I guess we could do that. Flash it in. Go ahead. Is there like board wipe here? We can flash this bird in. And then we can even tutor out another one for protection, right? Here's a demo field. You can call my bluff. I have 1 island in the deck, but I don't think they're demo fielding that. I think if they demo anything, they're getting the cavern out. But we have plenty. Oh, wait, you can't demo field a basic island. Never mind. That's not how that works. The mana is the same, right? They have more. They have less life. Sure. Not a whole lot I can do about this. This also has trample, so that's pretty good for us. Now their mana is a bit strained. Oh, temporary lockdown does beat it though, but it takes all their tokens as well. Yeah. I mean, I can't stomp that. Gonna activate this. I guess we need like a kick off the top. Here. Escort. We'll get a counter and then double it, so it should be enough for a lethal attack here. In theory. So they'll have to block. Oh wait, put in 1 more counter and then double number of counters on that creature. Ooh. So I put a counter here, it goes to 3 and then gets double the counter, so it just goes to 4. I think I want to put it here so they can't just trade off my creature, right? That seems like a reasonable take. Seems that way, I guess. Then I'll play a side quest, Chocobo. Go. It's gonna be so hard to finally get the last bit of damage in. I just don't know how I'm gonna do it. Okay. I know how I can do it, potentially. Oh, no way. Big whammies. Flash in bird. Hexproof. Allow that to happen. I get to flash this bird in. Oh, no. A tap land. Surveil. You should have bounced a token. The token goes away forever, so I don't know why we didn't necessarily do that. A little bit of a mistake there, but that's fine, I guess. And we ripped the Chocobo's kick to punt that thing into the sun. What are the odds? Tell me them. Not high. We had them all. Deep. Kenai seems like the worst random card we have, right? Even though it is like a hate piece. But if we're not against that deck, then it feels like the worst card, not close. So, oh, artifacts. Okay. So we're going to do this. We're going to name bird right away. And the reason we're doing it this way is so we're able to cast in Mockingbird, making a copy, and then we can play this land. So if we did it the opposite way, we couldn't. Temp Lockdown's a card that we could run into here. Artifacts is going to be both... Artifacts has always been both hard and easy for this matchup. But that's when we're playing Lockharts and stuff because the trample's so big. Or like the Moss Hydra is just so large that it's pretty hard for them to keep up. But once they start playing things at Exile, we're going to run into a lot of trouble, I think. We have to play here, unfortunately. However, Traveling Chocobo, land on top, not ideal. But Traveling Chocobo, if for whatever reason they do not have an Exile effect, if Chocobo stays and we somehow find another fetch land, like a Fable Passage or something, the Dusk Rose coming in, okay. Not sure I'm a fan of the Dusk Rose in the deck. I get it, but maybe they're just struggling with lower to the ground decks and they feel like that's how they have to do it. So bird is uncounterable. They cannot counter this because of Cavern. So this being held up does nothing, really. We'll play here. We'll load up. Now, a full-fledged board wipe could happen. So maybe we could have played the Forest. But I'm not sure about that. All Blades being enough to reach. Unfortunate, I guess. Should have paid a little bit more of attention. It's kind of weird to play this as the 4th land drop and it not be active. It doesn't happen very often. They did get our flyer too, so we are running into a bit of a problem here. We need a creature that can fight and do some stuff. This does have flash. Do I want to play it anyway? They're a little short on stuff to do, so I guess I do want to. Or do I just want to do this a bit different? Do I want to play Baby Bird? I think I want to do this a bit differently. Let's play all these lands. Let's do this. Take the action. This does put it in our hand. Then we're just going to grab a Fighting Bird. And then I could attack this 6/7, but I think that's just bad kind of right now. It could flip this. The only way I'm flipping it, is not like that, I think. I think the only way I would flip it is to keep it as an active land. So you would have to tap your other construct. And then what I would do is I would go for something slightly different. I would leave it as my active land and tap the other construct so I could do it a bit of the opposite where I'd make 2 constructs to replace it. Now, we are in a bit of a trouble. Either way, they keep back and they know what we got, and our bird is gone. So, each bird you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. And then my creatures get their counters doubled. They only have a land. It's an interesting situation to be in, that's for sure. Let's play here. You shoot one of these away. They'll have to block my big bird, though. That's the thing, right? Only my birds did it? I didn't have enough? That's tragic. Wait. This will get 7, go to 14? I mean, I think I have to do that. A 14/5. If they want to trade it, they have to double block, and they only have a land in hand, so I'm kind of calling the bluff of the game. Why didn't I just count that? Like, I don't know why I didn't do that. Down to 10. We should have it regardless, though, if they draw nothing. They have land, artifact, creature. Ooh. We are short one. Good Saw Blades here to make a creature. That doesn't necessarily give them anything. I don't think this works on craft, right? Alright, a dead card, and obviously they're not going to fetch a land here. I can't believe I did that. The idea was there. With Chocobo playing this, they both would have dealt damage and been enough. I don't know why I just didn't bother counting. All right, I mean, that's pretty good, I guess. Make a lot of things here. All right, well, I could copy that, of course. Doesn't get a counter. Would take all my mana to do that. It would take 4 mana to do this, but then would I lose pretty much everything? This one goes to 3. It's so high. I think the problem is I have to do the pressure plan, right? This is also legendary, so like copying it doesn't even feel good. What can I do? Creature, land artifact. Just nothing good. Oh boy. I mean, regardless, it has to be an attack out. It's just where this construct gets to block. It's so hard. I haven't timed out in a very long time. It's kind of crazy. I think my plan is to just go 4 here. Oh, I didn't mean to pay that much into X, I guess. I could leave this flyer, but I think I'm still going to leave the ground creature because I think I need this to attack. Take the action. And then I think the plan is to grab a traveling chocobo. And to one extent, I want to leave these back, but I just don't think I can. I'll do this here just to make it kind of the required block. A double block there. Interesting. Okay. Really wasn't ready for that, but sure. Down to 3 they go. Maybe that's the reason to leave the flyer, but I don't know. It just feels so hard. I feel like also not playing Flood Maul when we have access to blue feels weird. Because if I could just have bounced that and got my Chocobo back, I feel like this game also changes. That's also the case, like, for a lot of things in our matchups, I'm feeling. Where if I was able to go grab like a temp lockdown, I can bounce, you know, or anything in general. And there's a land, so let's play traveling. Now I don't have anything in that kind of doubles anything here. Mockingbird off the top. I mean, I can't keep getting away with this, you know. Bird. 2. Also uncounterable. Make another chocobo. Now I could attack here, which like gets the last token off the battlefield, but I think just waiting's fine. It had demo field held up. Like, when are they going to find another artifact though? And I also have a flyer that's technically lethal right now. They find a Famari's Vault, which is probably by far the best draw that they could have if they were going to have a land draw or anything not that relevant at all. So look at 8. We basically just need it to be a non-exile effect like this, which isn't necessarily guaranteed. The tutor card is probably the worst. Braided Net is a good answer. Now Braided Net can make a construct. It can craft and make another construct. But I do think when we get to our turn, they're actually just dead regardless. Unless they don't do it on our up. Actually, if they do it on our upkeep, it doesn't matter. We actually have the win here randomly, because our mana will be available and we can flash this off the top to give our flyer, which they didn't put a stop. Doesn't really matter though. They're not really that down bad. So we go to combat. And of all ways to win this game, I did not expect this to be the way. Flash in a bird. Give every one of my creatures hexproof apparently. Does not have reach, I do not believe. Hexproof, hexproof, and hexproof. Might as well just go down the list. And unfortunately for them, this will not tap my flyer. This does not have reach or flying. They do not have another. And 3 over the top will unfortunately be for them a lethal attack. What a weird way to get that win. In a way I thought would never really happen. Our opponent is first. Our hand is okay. We will keep. Swamp cards like Duress could be a thing, but that doesn't really matter. Cut down could also be a thing. I don't actually know this answer. Is this worth playing? I mean, probably with Bristly Bill it is, right? Maybe I'm wrong about this take. But I feel like running that out and having it get hit with a cut down is way better than having our Bristly Bill get hit with the cut down, if that makes sense. So I'm like kind of okay with that play. Cavern Bat. That's going to probably take our counter spell if I had to guess. If I had to guess. I'd also take the Bristly Bill, but I can't imagine that because this is countering any spell in their turn, and then they give me a reason to hold the counter spell up. Yeah, so that's gone. Baby Chocobo goes to a 1. Yeah, so it'll still lose if I have a Fable Passage come in. It goes to a 1/2. We fetch, goes to a 2/3. Cut down, can still get it. Obviously, also can go for the throat and things like that. But regardless, that's besides the point. We'll see what's up here. Honestly, this is the card of choice if I could get one of these in play. The thing is are they going to use a removal spell in this Chocobo, or are they going to wait to hit a card that may be or may not be more important to them? Who's to know? Not me, says I. But if they try to use a cut down on Bristly Bill, it will not work well. I think I'm not going to give them information, though. I know I could play it a bit differently. But let's play Bristly Bill. Actually, well, maybe it is to play this. Yeah, let's play it. I think it's a go for the throat anyway. Obviously, Bristly Bill is the more important card of the two, and I feel like they're going to remove Bristly Bill over my Chocobo. Maybe not. But we then have Traveling Chocobo to come in after. Shieldred's Edict. What am I to choose to remove? So the problem is if they draw a cut down, I lose Bristly Bill anyway, right? So we have to get rid of Bristly Bill. And this allows me to actually attack my opponent this turn. Bristly Bill, obviously the better card of the two. If you're talking just like card for card. But in the current state of the game, what removal could and could not be found there is clearly the opposite. This deals damage, right? Deal damage equal to the power of target creature. That's why I messed up the math earlier. It says each other bird. I thought it was all birds. So, okay. I just didn't count. Oops. This is a mistake by me, clearly. Archfiend. Okay. Sure. Traveling. Land. I mean, if they play a Bloodletter, I take 12. I take a lot, I guess. We'll need to overinvest now, I think. If we rip another Chocobo off the top, obviously this Fable Passage becomes infinitely better. Get rid of my Mockingbird. Down tick for 1. Each bird you control deals damage equal to its power to target opponent's creatures they control. Creature they control, not creatures. Oh no, don't you dare. Is this just randomly an attack into a deadly cover-up? Sure. Play here. play here. We do have a basic island. Sure, I guess. All right. Here and here. I don't know if they were prepared for that necessarily, but let's fetch this away. Don't need that top card. I think this is a good chance as any to grab our island. And that card on top's honestly not bad. It just determines whether I want to put this in play. I think I do, though. I think that's the only problem. Because we do have a landfall kind of trigger to happen. Side quest. We'll put a stop on our upkeep because there is potentially a combat kind of a trick with these that we can potentially do. Oh, here's the only other problem. Is they can exile and then make a lot of creatures to block next turn, I guess. I say I guess, but good card, dead card, really bad card for me. The world may never know. A really bad card for my opponent. Okay. Not that Ghost Vacuum's a bad card, but Ghost Vacuum in this one instance is not a great card. So, this specifies at the beginning of our first main phase. So we're at our beginning. Do we rip the Flashbird? No, we do not, unfortunately. Okay, that's fine. If we would have ripped the Flashbird, we could have threw it in, and then this would have flipped. So, I accidentally skipped the combat part of this, but okay. Thankfully we didn't miss lethal, because that would have sucked. But because by playing this land, this would have went up to 4, and they would have went to 2. But I guess I would make sure they don't get an Unholy Annex draw, I guess. But yeah, very weird thing that these can do. These don't have haste on the backside, right? I feel like this card would be a lot better if this backside had haste. And before anybody says that that would be too good, I would like to remind you of cards that they printed for us in the new Inner or Edge of Eternities. So they're gonna make 4 creatures here. Sure. These should have haste, in my opinion, regardless. Or they transform, don't they have haste? Isn't transforming like count? Or am I insane? I mean, I guess putting them to 2 would have been nice. I don't know how transform works in this case. Sure. Can I find one of these off the top? That'd be pretty sweet. So obviously we'll draw this card over. Was all my points for nothing? Oh, I do have haste. Okay, never mind. I was like, for some reason, I thought they exiled and came back as them, so they wouldn't have haste. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna go grab this. So these little birds are gonna be massive. Then we'll do this again. As you can tell, they can attack, so it doesn't really matter. We're just grabbing the land. And now all the birds are getting even spicier. Yeah. Play land. Might as well trigger them all. Might as well go above and beyond. Go absolutely nuts. Combat. Again, these do have haste. They don't actually have haste. They just don't come in with summoning sickness because they've been on the battlefield, and transform always tricks me up personally, because transforming and exiling and returning. Exiling and returning is a thing that a lot of sagas do, like Kamano, for example, had to have haste written on it because it exiles and then comes back. And our opponent allows us to hit him all the way to -80. Okay, very cool. Very cool win. A weird one for sure, to say the least. We definitely had a couple of draws where we could have lost the game on the spot, but we end up coming away with it. So that we'll move on. All right, with that said, here is the deck list at the end. I do have some kind of issues with it that I want to cover pretty quickly, and then with that we'll just call the video, and kind of some things I would recommend maybe looking at in the future for this deck. But one very quick issue I had was my mana base felt really bad, but I think our mana base entirely fixes itself when the new set drops, because we get access to breeding pool again. And the main issue I had with the mana base is it's also just an arena thing. Like, everybody knows when you play arena that sometimes you're like, it's whatever. But this land just kept being like, it kept being a cavern and 2 of these in my hand, and then I just like had very minimal green mana ever, because this does start on blue. But with breeding pools, this problem should probably be fine, because those count as islands and forest. And that just gives us another 4 solid lands to put in here that we don't really have to have these issues with, right? With all that said, we can talk about the deck and the cards I think that are strong or weak. I do think this card felt really good today. I think this card was actually a bigger all-star than what I thought it was going to be, because there was a lot of spots where having a Chocobo in play, having this flash off the top of our library was a very sneaky thing that we could do. I do think the idea of Mockingbird is good. I do think it kind of is matchup dependent where this card finds the most value. For example, against a mono black deck, or mainly mono black, I guess. Like Deep Cavern Bats and stuff, we're allowed to play Mockingbird and copy their stuff, so we can take copies of their Deep Cavern Bat, which is pretty nice. Also, if our opponent plays like a really good creature that we want to play against, or if we're even in the mirror, this can actually become a copy of like the Hydra or Tifa, something like that. And then we are just like in the exact same spot as them, but our card has flying. The other thing is that I liked a lot in here is I think the counterspell was good. Obviously Chocobo is good. The main gripes I had overall was kind of with this card and Chocobo's kick more than anything. For Chocobo's kick, I think there's just a straight up kind of better card that we could put in. And I think that's Hunter's Talent. This is when it enters, it does the same thing where a creature deals deals damage to the creature. But whenever we attack and give our stuff trample, and I ran into a problem today where there was a couple of games where I had this as like an 8/9, but it just was never able to hit my opponent because I either couldn't remove the creatures out of the way or get the trample through. And Biza being a big card in the meta currently, like that was the biggest issue I was running into. So a thing that could happen is with Hunter's Talent, instead I can play it, right? I can cast this card, play it, have my 8/9 hit a Biza, and then with the extra mana, because we are on 24 lands, I can pump this up, and now I can give this an extra 1/0 and trample. And then it's worst case scenario, if I just need to dump my mana somewhere, I have this bottom part of it, and if I have a creature with power 4 or greater, I just get to draw a card. So definitely seems like a thing that we should be taking advantage of in a spot like this, just getting more, or not that card, over this, getting more and more value. I never really felt like I wanted to pick up a land, and the double damage part never felt relevant because the creatures were just so large. So I feel like Hunter's Talent is kind of a strict upgrade there. The other card I didn't necessarily like, and I think this comes down to not playing Land War Elves more than anything, is this card. I never felt like I wanted to play this one. This card's good, but I kind of feel like I'm always playing this after a board wipe or something, and it just feels weirdly slow. I understand this card can just win the game on its own, but maybe it was the same issue I was having before with like Hunter's Talent. I felt like I needed this to go wider so I could get the damage through, instead of just playing something that would give me trample so I can get the damage through that way, or maybe even just like a Snakeskin Veil for protection. I did play a very like kind of finite amount of games, so this could just be kind of a very small sample size bias. So kind of the hard part where I have to give my opinions on something where I don't have hundreds upon hundreds of games to go with it. And I understand when it got submitted to me, the commenter that recommended it was 16-4. So they had figured something out, but I was definitely not that successful today. Outside of the videos or the games I'm showing, which I think they were wins, we could see how we almost lose them. But the other games were just like, I played against so much blue-white control, and when it was temporary lockdown into like a sunfall, I just conceded the game, and I just didn't want to play him out because I was just like, rather not waste my time kind of thing with that. But yeah, with that said, I enjoyed playing the deck. I think it was really fun. I definitely think it's an interesting take on what is kind of already a strong shell. I think a lot of people have already agreed that the mono green shell needs a card added to it. The other idea is we can go into red and play this card. If I can not add extra letters. Play self-destruct because this is instant speed, so it deals X damage to any target and X damage to itself, where X is its power. So this is also kind of like a chocobo kind of card, right? Where we can use it as removal, but the downside is on some of our creatures, they'll trade themselves off. But with this one, it never will, because its power should always be one less than its toughness, so it works obviously well with that. And then also we can throw our creature into them if that's what it comes down to. So something like that might work, and with Stomping Ground and Breeding Pool coming, that's pretty good shock lands for a teamer build of something of this sort. So maybe that's something we're looking into, right? Because if we go into lands, we can very quickly find that we get to play this one where red's kind of the active color, green's the off color, but then you can also do the thing where we have the blue-red one, and hopefully the red one's the active color there. So that's just something to think about whenever we're looking into the future of a deck like this, and how we can actually maybe make it a kind of S tier best of one deck. And with that said, that's all I got. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.